Imagine your Excel worksheet is a cluttered bookshelf with all your books crammed together. When you group your Excel data into separate sheets by category, it's like organizing your books where they belong, so you can easily find what you need. What if I told you there's a secret Excel hack that can make this happen automatically and super fast? In this video, I'll reveal just how simple it is to transform your data with a few clicks and a little VBA magic. First, let me show you what most people do when they want to organize their data into separate worksheets. I have a spreadsheet with a list of personnel data. It's organized by department. I want to send a list of people in each department to the relevant manager. I can't send the whole table. I have to split it into separate sheets, one for each department. If I don't use VBA, this is what I have to do. I'll first click inside the source data, then I'll go to Insert and Table. It's asking me to create the table. Where is the data for your table? And it's selected the right data range, and my table has headers, so I'll click OK. Now I'll change the formatting. I'll make it this green color. So the first step is I need to click on this drop down. Then I'll select Finance by first deselecting all and then selecting Finance and clicking OK. I'll create a new sheet for Finance by pressing this button, and I'll rename the sheet Finance, hit enter, go back to the data sheet, and then press Ctrl A to select the whole table, which is filtered now on Finance, Ctrl C to copy it, and then go back to the Finance sheet and press Ctrl V to paste. You'll see we can't read these very clearly, so I'm going to select all of these columns, and then I'll double click on the border to auto-fit the columns, and our Finance sheet is ready. Then we've got to do the same thing for each of the other departments. So we'd go through and do it for Marketing, click OK, press this button to create a new sheet, rename this to Marketing. I want to position it after Finance, so I'll drag it over. Then I click back to Data, press Ctrl C to copy the table, click on Marketing, press Ctrl V to paste it, select all of the column headers, and then double click to auto fit the column widths. And if you have more than 2 or 3 departments, you can imagine this will take a long time. When I do it this way, it's like taking out every book one at a time from the bookshelf. It works, but it's slow and it's error prone. I don't like it. We're going to turn to our well-kept Excel secret. It's called VBA, which stands for Visual Basic for Applications. Think of VBA as your code-based assistant. You give it instructions and it follows them, saving you hours of time. Over the past 7 years, I've taught hundreds of people how to use VBA to automate their work. And with a bit of practice, you can do it too. Here's a new workbook. There's 2 tables of data. The one on the left is personnel data. The one on the right is sales data. I'm going to click on the Developer tab and then find this button, which is called Filter Table to Sheets. It runs my special VBA code that asks me to select a cell in the column you want to filter by. Let's start with the left-hand table. I'll choose anything inside the department column. So let's just click on Operations, click OK. Then it'll ask me to choose a sort order. 1 is for alphabetical, 2 is reverse alphabetical, and 3 is original. I'll type in 1 for alphabetical and click OK. And now it's telling me that the filtered data has been copied to new sheets for each unique value. How fast was that? I'll click OK. Then we can see sales has been done, operations, likewise, marketing as well, and finance. You remember how long it took us to do it by hand? Well, by VBA, it's almost instant. Now let's go back to tables. I'm going to try again for the table on the right. I'm going to click on Filter Table to Sheets to run my special VBA code. I'll select a cell in this category column, say Magical Creatures. I'll click OK. This time I'll type 2 for reverse alphabetical order to demonstrate how that works, and then click OK. And just like that, it says filtered data has been copied to new sheets for each unique value. We'll click OK, and we'll see that armor, artifacts, magical creatures, potions, and weapons, these are in reverse alphabetical order, whereas finance, marketing, operations, sales were in alphabetical order. We can check that they've all been sorted and the columns have been auto-fitted automatically, so I don't have to do any of that double clicking. So not only is this fast to use, it's also really easy. In just a moment, I'll show you exactly how to make this work on your computer. But if this is the first time you've seen VBA in action, I've taught hundreds of people how to write code that does awesome stuff like this with my highly rated Excel VBA course. For instance, Stefan, who learned how to write code without referring to Google every step of the way. He gained the confidence to do this because of how well my course is structured. So check out the link in the description to find out more. Now, before we move on, there's one really important thing I need to tell you. For the VBA code to work, we need to use Excel tables. This is different from just putting your data on the Excel grid. Most people who use Excel have their data set up like a chaotic outdoor market, where you've got to wander all over the place to find what you're looking for. In contrast, Excel tables are like well-organized supermarkets. You can see all of the products neatly organized in clean aisles. It's much easier to find what you need. First, make sure that your data has headers. Now click on Insert and then on Table. Now follow the instructions to create the table. In this case, it's automatically selected the right range, so I'll click on OK. I don't really like the coloring, so I'll go and click on Format and change the format here. I also can't read the headers, so I'll select the header row and go to Home and change the font to a white. And now we have an Excel table, which our VBA code can easily process. And it's really easy to analyze an Excel table with VBA because there are all these filters that can be automatically applied. So the VBA code can quickly apply finance or marketing or operations or sales. And now it's time for the most important part. Let's make the VBA code work on your computer. The first step is to make sure you have the Developer tab. Head up to the ribbon, right-click on a menu, then click on Customize the ribbon. Now this looks a bit scary the first time you see it, but don't worry. All you need to do is look down here where it says Developer and then check this box. That's all you need to do, and then click OK. Now you'll see there's a new tab that's called Developer, and it gives you more menu options. We're going to put our code in something called the Personal Macro Workbook. This acts like your personal code vault, where you keep frequently used macros that can be accessed anytime you have Excel open. It can save you tons of time. To get your own personal macro workbook, we start by recording a macro. Click on this record button. Now it asks for a name, just leave that as it is, and where do we store it? So instead of choosing new workbook or this workbook, we're going to choose Personal Macro Workbook and click OK. Now that's it. What you need to do now is stop recording it, and we'll go into the Developer tab and click on Visual Basic, and you'll now have your own Personal Macro Workbook, which is called personal.xlsb. That's just the file format. So now that we have it, we can use this to write our own code. Let's delete that macro one first to leave a blank module, and we'll rename this module. Instead of calling it module 1, we'll change the name down here in Properties. By the way, if you don't have Properties, you can View and click on Properties window, which is F4, and that brings up these properties. So you can change module 1 to something like filter underscore table underscore 2 underscore sheets. So the important thing to note when renaming these is that you can't have spaces. So I've used underscores instead of spaces. So now we need to copy the right VBA code into our new module. I'll go back to Excel and then go to File and Open, and I'll choose to open this workbook, which has the VBA code. You'll find a link to download this workbook in the description. But don't go away just yet, because you need to know how to make this work. So we'll go to Developer and click on Visual Basic. Inside the workbook, you'll see there's a module called filter underscore table underscore 2 underscore sheets. And on the right, you'll be able to see the code for it. I'm going to scroll down just to show you a flavor of what it's like. Don't worry too much about what it says, because all you need to do is be able to copy and paste this. Think of it as a recipe in a cookbook. When you copy and paste the recipe and give it to Excel, it will be able to follow the instructions and create your dish for you. Click inside, press Ctrl A to select all, press Ctrl C to copy, and then we'll scroll back up to find the Personal Macro Workbook and find our own filter underscore table underscore 2 underscore sheets. Now double click that. You'll see it's empty. So click here again and press Ctrl A to select all and Ctrl V to paste what we copied from the workbook. And there we have it. All of the instructions are in here. And now we'll add a new button to the Excel ribbon so that you can run the VBA code quickly and easily. Head back to Excel and then right click on the ribbon, click on Customize the ribbon. What we want to do is head down and click on New Tab. So once we click on it, this adds a new tab as custom. We'll rename that. I will call it Custom Menu. Click OK. And then choose commands from macros. We've got to select this so we can see what's in the personal macro workbook. Next, we've got to find the filter table to sheets macro, which is here. Just scroll to check it is. Yep, filter table to sheets. And then we select the new group in the custom menu and click on add. And that will add the personal macro workbook that's filter table to sheets. We don't want to leave it like that. So let's go rename this as well. I'm going to choose a filter icon for it and call it filter table to sheets and click OK. And maybe I'll change the group name instead of just custom or new group. We'll call it sheets and click OK. And when we click OK, you'll see we've got a new custom menu in the ribbon. When I click on that, you'll see we have this button that says filter table to sheets. Clicking on that runs our custom macro. The thing is, knowing how to have your data organized into separate worksheets is only half the battle. Now you need to learn the best way to export them to separate files, otherwise you'll still waste hours. So watch this video next, where I'll show you how to quickly and easily export all your sheets to new files.